We are set up, ready to go. People are waiting. Bruce is here. Bruce, my man. Early. I like it. Oh, we're rocking and rolling already. And 3 minutes till the start. There's anyone else? No. Some registrants. Welcome. Jason's early. Jason, Bruce is early.
It's you.
Hey, Jason. That's it. That's all I get. Is that?
No, no, man. I'm just a big fan of yours. I
Oh,
mean, like, I just watched like so many hours of your videos, and it's just
oh
like
my,
you're a superhero to me.
oh my. No, you're a superhero now. You leveled up.
How are you doing? How's your day?
Good. It's the morning for me. I'm on coffee.
Where are you?
I'm in Indonesia, Bali.
You're in Indonesia. Oh, cool. Fun. How'd you end up there?
Plate. I flew here. Um, no, just been traveling for like 6 years now, and then COVID hit, and actually, funny enough, January before COVID, it's like 2 months before COVID, I decided I'll stay here for 2 years, and then got forced to stay here for 2 years.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, lucky.
That's crazy, man.
And then yeah, and
Well,
then
I
I had a
love.
baby boy, so I stuck here for another 18 years.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's exciting, man.
16 and a half years to go.
Yeah, year and a half. So like walking, a little bit of gurgling.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
screaming and pulling.
screaming. Yeah.
And oh, he can open the refrigerator now, which is fun.
Yeah, which means that he can grab you a drink.
Now he knows his pudding. He knows his pudding, his yogurt. And somehow
That's
I don't understand it, but I'm sure he thinks it's right. He also grabs the entire sliding thing, the whole tray.
yeah, the fruit tray thing.
That's no good. I don't
Yeah.
know. He didn't learn that from any person.
Well, you'll have to put your knife somewhere else now. That's all.
Yeah, not in the fridge.
Not in the fridge anymore. Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this, by the way. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Totally open to anything. I think Mike is gonna show up. Mike had a question about sponsorship, so a totally different realm. Happy to answer questions like how I got to talk about
Well, I mean, I,
where
I
are
have a
you?
very, I have a very specific thing that I'm looking to do, and like I can't, and I don't have the expertise or understanding. I mean, at least I have a basic understanding of Google Sheets, but it's like I have this idea for an app that's pretty simple. It's pretty specific, very vertical specific, that it's like a yes or no questions basically. But in the process of answering yes or no questions, it tracks what time that answer was logged. And then it's more about data interpretation than the actual functionality of the sheet. But it's like, if you can understand, like, was this thing good, yes or no, then you can tell a lot about people's interactions at, like, say, an event. And so I'm in the liquor business, and it's like, if there's an event with 10 cocktails at it, and you say, did you like this, yes or no, then you can find out when they were there, roughly how long they were there, what they liked about, like, what drinks they liked, and then which one was the crowd favorite, or which one was presented the best. So, like, you can glean a lot of information from there. And then not only that, but if that yes or no was attached to a recipe, you could track depletions of that particular item. And if you're measuring velocity, you could anticipate when you'd be out of that particular item
during the event. Yeah. So
during the event, or I mean, if it's like there's a million things that you could do with it, but most specifically, like, I work with very large events that have 30,000 people attending them. And if I were to be like, the only other thing that we were able to come up with, aside from a micro POS, point of sale system, which can be downloaded from any QR code and opens on any phone, is by weighing it. And that's grossly inefficient, because we'd have to set up, like, Bluetooth or Wi-Fi plates, and it's just a mess. But if we knew what the velocity of each drink was, then we could know that, like, this drink is going to run out at this time, and that's fascinating to me.
So with user input, so it sounds like what you need, and I don't know why specifically you're going to Google Sheets for this, but I'm going to guess a couple of things. Basically, it sounds like you have event participants who need to enter, do they like it or not? What amounts to sort of an NPS score. It could either be yes or no, or it could be 0 through 10, or it could be
right.
Any particular selections you want. So it sounds like you want them to enter that, and then it gets timestamped. An app will do that, as you mentioned, a mini app, something they can download. You can probably do that with a mini app. With Google Sheets or Google Forms, there's two ways to do that. One is you can create a click track. Oh, sorry. But then there's exactly one big issue with both of them, and I'll try to explain it. So you can have them submit a Google form from a pre-filled link. So if you have a Google form that says yes or no, and then the name of the drink, you can pre-fill the name of the drink. So you could have URLs with QR codes that have the name of the drink already pre-filled. So they just say QR code link, and it includes the name of the liquor. But they're going to have to click submit. That's the big thing.
Well, that's what I was thinking, is like Google form would be a little clumsy. But you said that I mean, it would have to be direct input. Like, they would have to scan, and it would have to open in a quarter of a second, and they would have to hit their entry. Like,
so
otherwise they're not going to do it.
So the other option is that you can set up a click tracker. One of the videos in Better Sheets is called Add a Click Tracker. And what it does is you go to any link, you can give them one link and it'll redirect them to another link. There's a huge problem with this, though. Not huge. I'm exaggerating. It just changed. The user cannot be redirected through that automatically anymore. The user has to take an action. But that doesn't mean that they need to know they're just like being redirected. It could be another question. It could be consent or something. Like, you don't have to just say, click me to go on. It can be some other call to action, but they have to take some action. That's one big thing that changed in that click tracking video.
Okay, click tracking. And then in the very beginning, you said that there, like, Google Sheets is one way to go with this. What would you say is another way to go? Because I don't know what.
Oh, sorry, those were the two ones. So one is you can create a click tracker inside of web app, Google Script, and then they won't know that they're entering, like, because you don't need any personal information. You just need to know the timestamp and the data. They won't know that they're being tracked, like, because they're not being tracked. It's the URL is being redirected to another URL.
Right.
And you'll get some information. So you can create URLs and QR codes. If you can create a URL, you can create a QR code. So if you create different URLs that have the different names of the liquors, then you just have them click that. And what it'll do, it's a little clumsy. It's less clumsy than having to submit a Google form. But they will have to click something. They have to have some user interaction. That's, if you watch the video right now that is click tracking in Google Sheet or creating a click tracker, it doesn't say it in that video because after the video, like literally within the last 6 months, Google changed that when being redirected, they have to have some user interaction.
Got it. Okay. So check out click tracker in the better sheets. Great. Got it. Thank you. And then that'll just tell me like raw data about what they clicked and when they clicked it, right?
Exactly. So you get the timestamp and the data.
Great. That's really all you need. I mean, you can glean a lot of information about behavior with just those two pieces of information.
And I would not immediately poo-poo the idea of a Google form. If you want to have a totally in total less amount of input, but that input is higher quality. Because with a Google form, you can ask more questions. You can say, hey, tell us how you like this. So you're going to get a less total number because people still have to click submit, but you'll get a higher quality of actual people typing some answers. Okay.
Are you I mean, I'm not sure what your background is, but have you built full stack applications and stuff like that? Is there a more elegant solution to this than this?
Yeah, sure. I mean, look at something like Glide, look at Spread Simple, look at anything that is on top of Google Sheets. You can, I believe, create a pretty simple app that just people smash a button and then that data goes into a Google Sheet.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, that's all I got. I promise. Great to see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Everyone who's entering now, just there is a reaction button. You can raise your hand if you want to ask a question like Barbara just did.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Barbara.
Let me turn on. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Good, thanks.
I got the access to Better Sheets a while ago, but I haven't really dove deep into it. I was wondering if you have an idea or a template. One thing that I suffer with clients is that tracking metrics for social media, it's a nightmare. No matter the software, we try social mention a lot of things, and I figure I always go back to Google Sheets. Is there a way to automating that will make it easier to track it? I don't know if doing it through API, which I try to do with something called StackBy, which is kind of like a knockoff of Airtable. It didn't work perfectly. The API some API codes you cannot really input in there. So I was just wondering if you have any thoughts on that.
Which social medias? Is it many
Instagram,
accounts?
TikTok, LinkedIn.
Oh, sorry.
Instagram, Meta, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Twitter.
And is it multiple accounts or one account?
No, it will be for one account.
Okay.
Yeah, one account. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, you can technically, I think, still import XML. It's gonna be a little hairy though. I only did this 5 years ago. I would scrape YouTube channel information. And Instagram and Twitter. This was about 5 years ago. Import XML should work. Unfortunately, I think within the past few years, what happened is they'll show a number, but depending on how many followers or if data you're getting, it might be 10.4 thousand followers. And what I remember is probably within the last few years, you can only get that number. You can't get the actual underlying real number if you scrape it. That's initially what I'm thinking. But it's probably worth a try if you're just trying sheets out and trying to scrape it instead of doing the API. Try scraping just with import XML. TikTok has a web profile, right? And are you just trying to, what number are you getting? Actually, I probably should ask. That's only for follower count.
It's not a lot. It's under 10,000 followers. So
I mean, what data are you trying to get? Are you trying to track like month-to-month follower count?
Yeah, month to month.
Any other like information?
Month to month on engagement, saves, and shares.
Yeah, I think each platform is going to be different. There are probably like, oh God, what is it called? Social Blade.
I haven't used that one. Let me go.
I think they, from what I remember, they do Twitter and Instagram.
You're right. Yeah, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. Yeah, actually, YouTube is the easier one to pull from. What scraping tools do you use?
Me, scraping tool, I don't use a scrape.
No.
I mean, import XML is going to get you pretty much any information that you can find on a public website.
Okay.
That
helps actually. Thank you.
You said you've used some APIs?
Yeah, but lightly into StackBy. Like Instagram doesn't allow, for example, to import that into StackBy. So
Twitter, you can easily. Twitter API is pretty not easy, but simple to get.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna sort of have some issues with different platforms. Like TikTok is atrocious to work with.
Okay.
Like you only have that public page. There's no way to like.
Right. Yeah. All right, I'll keep trying. That's helpful though. I'll check Social Blade to see how that works.
Actually, now that I remember, there is a TikTok. Oh my God, it's not a scraper, but it's like a website of TikTok numbers. I only remember the guy who made it, Andy Cloak, but he sold it. Let me find it. Sorry, you did say TikTok, right? I didn't make that up.
Yeah, no.
Okay. It's called Influence Grid. But this might just be like a platform to search for people, but you might be able to get some data. Yeah.
Data, right.
Influencegrid.com. And then
got it.
And did you find Social Blade?
Yeah, Social Blade I'm into
Cool.
right now already. Awesome. Thank you so much. Actually, it has a lot more than just Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. That's awesome. And TikTok too. Thank you.
You're welcome. I saw Amy had her hand up a while ago. Was that the same question as you?
No. Thank you. I do this big research report monthly on using some data I collect from Amazon books, self-published books, and I have I wonder if there's an easy way to do like a 2-tiered frequency distribution. So like I've got pricing in increments and then like black and white versus color versus unknown interior. So kind of getting data into that grid. So it's fairly straightforward just to do like prices, if using the add if, but how would you construct that statement to then further break it into?
Do you mind showing?
Is it like a nesting to do or
do you mind showing it?
Yeah,
Signatures.
I keep losing the page, sorry.
I just changed it, that you can share.
Okay.
So you have, sorry, say that again. You have multiple data. You want to segment it out more?
Yeah, let me, here.
Sorry, for those who are just joining, you can raise your hand and we'll get to you. We'll try to get to you. We have 2 hands raised now. Or drop in the chat a question.
So I've got books.
Nice.
So these are all the price and then the interior. I'm trying to get them quickly into kind of this grid, black and white color.
And what's in J2 is that's one you just mentioned. You already do.
I've just done
you're just doing
this.
that by hand?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, so you can do count it.
so I have I sorted this basically by price and then, yeah. So would I just nest the if?
Okay, so it looks like if you go to the left, you have all, sorry, in the A column.
So this is the same data as in F. I just sorted to try to, do it by hand, but
F and G are like together. So you have all of the numbers of the books in F and the category in G, right? On the price tab.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, so
Yeah,
F is the price and then G is the category?
Right, yeah.
Okay, so what you'll want to do to get the J2 to be a formula, you can do count filter. So first I would do filter and just filter it doesn't actually matter. Filter F by you can just actually if you want to try you can just do equal, try it in J2. Just type equals filter. I might be able to do it in the chat. Sorry, count all filter. So you'll want to do filter F. I'll just type it in the chat here.
Yeah.
Column,
okay.
and then G equals J2. And you'll want to have a $sign in front of the 2, J, and then, okay, so you need to change the I column or add in the H column, like, or you have to have a min and a max. So you can say that F to F is greater than, let's say, H to H, and F to F is less than I to I. I'm just gonna guess that that's where you're gonna have, like, they're gonna have the minimum number in H and the maximum number in I. And I think this will work. So you have if you check out the chat.
Yeah, okay.
And the only change you would have to do is that the H is the minimum number. Oh, sorry. That's wrong. It's not greater. If you want greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. Okay, I fixed it. And you'll just need to put like 0 in the H2, 5 in I2. What do we got? Oh, sorry, not 2, 1. J2 is supposed to be J1. My bad.
Okay.
Help fix that. If you just put in I2, the 5, not $5, but just 5.
Uh,
Oh, and then what's gonna happen is if there's a error in the filter, meaning there's no, if it's 0, you're gonna have an error and it's gonna look like the 1. So here, I'll fix that. So if error, do that. Okay, that should be it in the chat.
ooh, okay.
And that should be a 0 in, change the I2 to just the number 5. Can also actually, if you want to keep the information in I, just add a column to the left of I so that you actually see that information. You don't have to delete it.
So I'm confused, sorry.
So to the left of I, add a column. You'll need a minimum and a maximum separate columns. So just, yeah, that's good. And then in H2, put the number 0. In I, put the number 5. H2, sorry. Where it's like you want to get negative and less than 5, you want to turn that into 0 to 5, and then 5.99. H3 should be 5, and then I3 should be 5.99.
Okay,
See, so you have a minimum and a maximum, and then, and I apologize, actually one more fix because it's going to be the K column now, not J. So K2 should, oh, it fixed it. That's okay. And now if you copy and paste K2 to K3, it should be 2. And if it isn't, we'll figure out why. Why is that? Oh,
that's 3, right?
no, it should be, but oh, I see why. Because K1 is it's the ampersand, but in G column you have the word and. So change K1
Oh, okay.
the word and. Whoa, there's 13. Is that correct? Is that actually right?
No,
Oh, I know why. Sorry, I1 should be 4.99, not 5. I2.
I2. Okay,
Because it has to be less than 5, right?
right, yeah.
Oh, it didn't change. Are there 13 that are less than?
There's one that's less than 5,
That's on color, yeah.
and then 0, yeah, 0 for black and white.
Oh, I see why I made a mistake because we added the column. So it's actually filter should be G. I'm sure it actually did change it. But here I added a new formula for you.
Okay, thank you.
But no, it fixed it.
Oops,
Nope,
pardon?
yeah, updated because it looks like the columns are wrong. So that's correct, right? 0?
Yeah, yeah.
Great. And then K2, put in, copy and paste it to K3. And it's still 0. When I see the black and white ones right there. But
Yeah.
oh, sorry. I see the problem. That's silly of me. Um, Sorry, I'm fixing this. There should be F to F. Wait, GF. I think this is. Wait, H, A, B, C, E, F. Yeah, try that one. I switched the columns around and didn't fix it.
Okay. Let's see. Actually, I think to do this one right.
And then try that K2 in. I don't see the formula, so it's hard to tell. I don't know what actually is in there. It's weird. It has formulas blank.
Huh. Oh, let's see.
But is this actually going to get you the answer? Is this the answer to the question you were asking?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I will fiddle around with it and
But
hopefully
also you
I'll-
can just email me. It's actually much faster if I have access to the sheet. So if you
yeah.
want to email me, I can get this correct.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Because there's one other way you can check. If you take F and G and put it on the columns of F and G, put it on another sheet, and then
Mhm.
use the filter function up in the menu. I'm sorry, my cursor, I'm pointing at it with my cursor. Can't see that. The filter function, then you can visually check. You don't have to like count. You can visually check, okay, here's how much it should be. Here's the number. It makes it
Okay.
easier to check your work.
All right. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. We have some other people with their hands raised. Don't know who was first. So Amy, do you do you mind picking someone? So I don't
Manpreet is first.
Okay,
Whoever's
thank you.
yeah, he's first and then me and then John. That's kind of the way it works.
Okay.
Somebody was paying
Thank you,
attention.
everybody.
Thanks. Manpreet.
Yeah, Drew. I sent you an email. I don't know whether you got it or not. Just few minutes ago with 2 Google Sheets. I can share the view, but you have the access. It's like share with anybody. If you have access to your email, just have a look. Otherwise, I'll share my desktop.
Sure, what's the
then-
question? I mean, you can show it, please.
Yeah, let me share it. Yeah, this is one of the Google Sheet, which is recording the timesheets, which I share with the clients. Now they have to update this sheet on a timely basis. This is bi-weekly. So they keep on entering. I'll just zoom in. So they enter their hours, whatever they worked, and it gets counted over here. And these hours are carried forward from here to a second sheet where all the calculations are done for the payroll. So we need to enter the hourly rate and the hours, and rest of the calculations are done automatically. Like I have to just drop down one by one, pull, and it calculates. Now I'm trying to automate this by sharing this Google Sheet with the clients. They just have to update it, and the values from certain boxes where we have highlighted all these 75 are the 2 weekly hours. We have to capture and take these hours, and these hours are basically coming over this column. And rest of the things could be done with using a macro, in Excel, it is possible, but with Google Sheets, I'm not able to run any macro. So
Now, are you not able to run any macro because like the program doesn't work right now? Like you're trying to create a macro?
yeah.
One reason I see is that it's an Excel file. You might have to change it to a Google Sheet file.
Okay, this is XLS. Okay, so I'll have to change it to the Google Sheet then.
Yeah, like that's one thing that I noticed this with like another member. They were having issues with a Google Sheet, but they had opened it as a Excel doc. And Google Sheets is like used to only convert, but recently it will open your Excel file as an Excel file in Google Sheets, and it won't allow you to do certain things. I don't know
So
if that
was
matters.
to automate between two Google Sheets, I need to let them talk with each other on certain boxes and columns and values to be carried forward between them. Is it going to be possible through a code which we can include on the Google Sheet or API? How can we achieve this? This is actually the work I'm doing outside of bookkeeping software, QuickBooks. Like QuickBooks is all automated.
Yeah.
And it is a paid software. So I'm just trying to bypass that.
Got you. Wait, so you're trying to, what are you trying to automate between two sheets? This.
Now I will be sharing the timesheets with each of the clients I have. They will only have access to the timesheets. They can only enter their daily hours, whatever they worked. And from here, on certain days, these hours are picked up by a second Google Sheet, which only I have access to. And all these calculations are done automatically. For example, this is the timesheet for, you just zoom it, April 4 to April 17, $30 per hour and 75 hours. And these are going on this payslip. Now payslip is being worked out on a second sheet, Google Sheet. Automatically it takes out the 75 hours and hourly rate, and it calculates the Canada pension plan, employment insurance, federal tax, provincial tax. These are the year-to-date cumulative figures. These are also the cumulative figures. These are the current figures, and out of these, it calculates how much we have to remit to the government.
Okay, it looks like you have this already set up, that you have the hours.
Yeah, everything is already
Okay,
set
so
up.
what's up? So where
We
is it
just-
not automated that you're asking?
Just need
what
to
automate?
get these hours
Yes.
from this.
So
And I'll be having more than one client. So these type of sheets, there will be many. Each client will have their own sheet, but all of that data is coming on a cumulative basis. I can have maybe 10 different client setups on each, and each separate sheet is talking to a separate Google Sheet for the timesheet.
yeah, so the typical way that people take information from one sheet to another is with import range. So it's a formula called import range, and you can use the URL of this timesheet monthly sheet, and you
Okay.
just need to know timesheet 2022. The only issue that you're going to run into is that like right at the moment, I can't figure out which cell goes to which sheet. You'll know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you might want, there is a possibility that you might want to create sort of an export sheet, export tab. And that makes import range so much easier. That on this timesheet monthly, you create, say, like export 2022, and then on this sheet, you grab all the data that you want and put it in there programmatically with just some filters or formulas. And then you use import range to grab that data that's sort of in a good format to wherever you need to go.
So would it always import or export all of the data at a single instance every time?
Right, that's why I would recommend creating on timesheet monthly, what I would call like an export tab, and only grab the data you need. And but you can programmatically do, not program, sorry, you can use a formula to grab, you know, L13, L16, L19, L21. You know, you'll know the data that you need.
Yeah, yeah.
It sounds like you
if
only need that
I'm-
75.
So if I'm having maybe 52 boxes on the timesheets to be carried forward to the payslip, would all the 52 boxes will be read at the same time?
Yeah, import range will update, like, I think it updates, my God, I forget, every 5 minutes or it caches it for like an hour. Maybe it updates every 1 or 2 hours.
But is it possible we can lock this Google Sheet once the client has entered anything? They should not be able to edit it, just to avoid accidental data loss.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily lock it, because that would be like a menu function, but to programmatically sort of get data, what you can do is do copy paste values. And that means like timesheet 2022, you can copy paste onto a new tab. You can, duplicate this tab, take away all the formulas, just keep the data. And then you'd have basically a time-stamped version of this that you can access.
Yeah, but that I
that's
will be
counterintuitive.
spending active time again to do that. I'm just trying to automate.
Oh,
this
you
thing.
can do that automatically. Like you can, with Google Apps Script, you can do, you can copy a tab and then name that tab whatever you want. Maybe like the name plus a version number, or maybe you want to name it after a timestamp or a date. And you can do that, 12 times a year, once a month, so that okay, our client updated it during this month to this, and we have a version of that, instead of, like you said, allowing them. And then if they ever edit it again, you're like, well, here's what it was on this day, not what it is now.
Okay, got it. I can try that.
So again, the typical way that people get information from spreadsheet to spreadsheet is through import range. And then if you want to capture data or hold it, I would say copy paste values, or copy the tab and rename it so you have a backup of that tab. And you can do that through Google Apps Script.
Okay, so in the main payslip master sheet, I can have more than one client setup. Like this could be for client 1, second would be for client 2 separately.
I think so. I mean, I can't 100% say that. I don't know how complicated that might get. But usually people have, like, a lot of freelancers will keep multiple clients in one Google Sheet. Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to figure it out and then get back to you then.
Cool. But there's that. I hope that gets you at least the next step.
Yeah, I have something to work on now. I'm trying to cook something now.
Cool. And feel free to email me as you use that import range. If you are trying to do the copy paste values, there's trick. I have a video in Better Sheets. I forgot the exact name of it, but it's basically, it's about triggers, and you can find out what triggers you can do app scripts at. And there's multiple versions, like semi-automatic, automatic, there's time-based ones, but there's a Better Sheets video about those triggers that I think will be very helpful. Cool.
I think Charles has a message like, I think it might be possible with only Sheets plus Gumroad. Maybe he has a different question. Maybe you can.
It's a different question.
No, but I'm not. I'm queuing. I'm waiting for the others to raise their hand before.
Alexandra's next.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew.
Welcome. Thanks, Manpreet. Alexandra,
Hi, Andrew. So as I'm thinking about my question, it may not make sense at all, and
Mhm.
it's okay if it doesn't.
I have plenty of
I was
coffee, it's okay.
I was wondering if I were be able to make a Google Sheet similar to like a fillable PDF.
Mhm.
So I'll show you what my sheet looks like. This is it, right? And
Mhm.
it needs to go to like 200 and something students. And
Mhm.
obviously it's fillable because I know that I can do that. You know, I've already got it to click.
Yeah.
But I'm just in my head as I was sitting here, I'm like, I'm not sure that I can even do that. I mean, I'm obviously I tried doing it. I'm working on it in Adobe, right? I'm doing it here. But I was wondering if it could be done in Google Sheets as well.
Yeah, so the end result you need is a a separate PDF for each person's responses.
Yeah, correct.
And you need that PDF, or do they need the PDF?
They need the PDF. They need to be able to just like grab it and use it whenever they're in class.
And do you need to like own that sheet, or can you give them a copy of this
Need
and
to
they
own
use
the
it on
sheet.
their Google Drive?
They use it on their Google Drive. I don't need to own it. I guess if I lock it and share it, that's how they could use it as well, right?
Yeah, they can copy it and then they can just do file, download as a PDF.
Okay.
And then you
See,
have
it was and then that's it. And then if I lock it, they can't change anything. They can copy it. Well, I don't want them to change any of this part, like the written part.
I mean,
rubric.
giving them access to it would make them a copy on their Google Drive.
Okay, so they would be able to manipulate it.
Yeah, do they want to manipulate it? The questions? Isn't this like
Probably
a rubric you created for them?
No, it's a rubric that's created by yes, and it's a rubric that's created. I mean, those are specific things they have to follow.
Right, so why
So
would
that's
they
why-
wanna edit that?
No, they won't. They won't. Just wanting to know if there was a way to lock it.
Yeah, but unfortunately, like if you're getting into a weird situation where if you allow editors of a sheet of a Google Sheet and then lock some part of it that they can't edit, now everyone can edit that part that you didn't lock, meaning they don't have their own copy. It's the exact same one that everybody is editing. So you want them to actually like fill it out, right?
Yeah. Okay, that makes
So
sense.
how I've seen this before done is that you just grant them access to copy it to their own drive, then they fill it in. And what you can do maybe to make it, okay, you can download as a PDF, but you can also change the URL at the end so that it downloads as a PDF upon click. So actually this might not be what you're asking at all, but you can change any Google Sheet at the end. You can take away the edit and put in export ? Format equals PDF. And the moment that they click on that URL, it downloads as a PDF. But it's something you
Oh,
need to fill it out first, then download it as a PDF.
okay.
So that might
Okay.
run you into problems. Originally, I thought that you wanted people to answer those like maybe through a Google form and then create a PDF for each one, but actually you just want them to have access to it.
I
And
just want them
fill
to
it
have
out.
access to it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, many people, when they do checklists, workflows, planners, they'll just say, hey, copy this sheet to your Google Drive and then download as a PDF.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome. And if there's any other like intricate things there, like that you come up with later, just email me and let me know, like, oh, what I meant was this other thing. Like, oh, I'm happy to keep on that. If anyone else is joining recently, John has his hand up. He's the next one, but you can put raise your hand with the reactions and we'll get to your question. Thanks, Alexandra. Hey, John.
Thank you.
I think we'll get to you and then we'll get
Yeah.
to Charles' question.
I actually have 3 questions. One is an actual formula question. One is a Google Sheets marketing question and an app script course suggestion. So you get to
Got
choose.
What? You have, let's go through all of them. Is
Okay.
a lot of questions which one do you think is the quickest?
Quickest one is the marketing question. Just something if you come across, because I have some Google Sheets that I know are really useful in my industry, except people want apps. So what have you dealt with when you've come across this wall of, I was kind of thinking a sexy app instead of a spreadsheet?
Yeah, there's like a long spectrum between that, right? Between a spreadsheet that just is data, is point A, and point B is an app that does everything for you. There's quite a large spectrum between that we don't really consider much until we know, like, oh, Google Sheets can do this or Google Sheets can do that. I have templates. So a lot of people in the past 20 years have created like templates or like fill in the blank sort of headlines, blog posts, email subject lines, and they give you a little like line, then you fill in that line. But Google Sheets, you can, if you check out the Twitter templates sheet that I made, it allows you to fill in a few pieces of information and it fills that in all of those templates for you. So that's like one step further than here's a PDF, and many steps away from here's a web app.
Right.
And
Okay.
then with Google App Script, you can add a whole nother level of functionality. If someone is working in Google Sheets a lot and you're able to create, say, functions for them. For instance, okay, so I have a YouTube video about this that I just put it out this week. It's like programming in Google Apps Script for programmers. The first function I do in there is a CPM function, and it's a CPM, cost per melee. It's just like take the cost, take the impressions, divide by 1,000, and then do the cost divided by that. And it's a bit of a function that like is extra. Like if you know the math, you know the math, but you can create a custom function that does exactly that. So that's one more step you can do from just a Google Sheet of data. You can add these custom functions that you create, and it could be just math, very basic math. It doesn't have to be much actual coding. Oh, sorry. If have you watched the Learn to Code videos?
Yeah, I've watched a couple of them. Yeah.
Okay, so that shows you exactly where to do math inside of Google Apps Script. And then the second thing is I would add, there's another video, I forget the whole title, but it's like turn your custom functions into native functions. There's a way that Google Script allows you to add some data in front of your script function that makes it so that it auto fills in when you're typing equal sign and then you type in the name. That feels like magic. If you create that for someone else and they just start using a function that they like know the keyword to, that's in addition to the 400 plus native Google Sheet scripts, but it acts natively. It walks them through what they need to do. That would be like A+, awesome. And that's, again, one step further than just data and many steps away from a web app.
You know, there's something I heard this week. When you're selling tech, there has to be a wow factor. So I guess that's it, is get people off of thinking app if you can produce some sort of wow factor like that.
And
Magic.
that wow factor is, I mean, in just a few things I mentioned is like, oh, for instance, I'm a real estate agent and I want to like do this like real estate calculation to figure out 10-year mortgage rates. If I just type in equals 10-year mortgage rate into Google Sheets, right now it does nothing. That doesn't exist. But if someone created a sheet that, oh, if you type in 10-year mortgage rate and it's a function that feels native to Google Sheets, you're like, what? Like, and that's literally just a little bit of typing in Google Apps Script. Like, it's not even coding. It's very simple.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much a wow, cool thing.
There we go. There's the key, the wow factor.
That was one question.
Yeah, so for the app script, I've been looking for an app script course that worked big to small. So I have background in really technical education, and I always structure things big to small. So I've wanted to find out, how does app script think? And, you know, maybe it involves a bit of how, what's the kind of programming language? It's object-based programming. I don't know, just someone who doesn't have a programming background going, how does we go from that to feeling comfortable? Because I found most of the courses on Google Apps Script, they dive right in. And I kind of don't really get, over time now, I understand the different, like var and how things are starting, how the variables work, but it's always been get in the weeds a little too quickly. Whereas I kind of want some big picture overview of how does AppScript really operate and think. Does that make sense?
A little bit, or rather, it doesn't, but I'll ask some follow-up questions.
Yeah.
So, were you able actually? So the YouTube video I just put out this week is Google AppScript for experienced programmers. So it's funny you mentioned it dives right in. That you said other videos dive into the weeds. That might dive into the weeds way too quickly, but it highlights the things that are important to Google Sheets, not programming. It's very fast. It's 15 minutes, so I'm not sure it's going to answer your questions. But the biggest point that I mentioned in that video is like, there's a hierarchy of spreadsheet to sheet to rows, columns to cell. That might be a little too in the weeds.
But that's better though. Like looking at the hierarchies within, you know what I mean? Like just kind of like a view from the cheap seats of this is how AppScript kind of thinks and how it's connected to things, like, you know what I mean?
I think I do know what you mean, but the way that I've learned AppScript, and I'm not a master at AppScript myself, and I just use it, but it's like, I would prefer like a cookbook version. So like, here's this problem and here's the solution. And then in that little gap, like, oh, now I can figure out AppScript. That's how I've learned it. I understand what you mean by object. I think you mentioned or object-oriented programming.
Yes.
And it's so weird. I agree with you in certain tutorials. If I'm learning, like I learned Ruby on Rails last year, but I had been trying to learn Ruby on Rails for like almost a decade. Because every beginner tutorial starts off with like all these parts that seemingly are just disparate, and then it just quickly ramps up and it's like, now we're programming in a web app. I'm like, wait.
Yes, that's exactly my experience. Exactly it.
So actually the course that I'm doing now called Spreadsheet Alchemy should ease that learning curve. And it's really more about Google Sheets, even though we're learning essentially JavaScript, which is Google Apps Script. There's no point in which I'm like, here's all of the things you have to know about JavaScript. That it's like, no, here's the problems we're solving. We're going to like how do you send an email from a Google Sheet? How do you access a cell? We're like, that's a whole module is just saying like, literally, here's the one line you have to know of script. It's spreadsheet app dot get active spreadsheet dot, and this is the hierarchy of grabbing anything from any sheet anywhere. So it's more Google Sheets oriented than programming oriented, even though it's like learned.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And so I don't mean to like promo that, but it's Spreadsheet Alchemy. If you want the handheld holding, if you want live sessions, I'll be doing it via Maven. But there will be async videos along with it. Let me get the link. I'll drop it in the chat for anyone else who's interested as well.
Perfect.
It's by no means do you have to attend if you don't want to. It is paid. But from Spreadsheet Alchemy, the live class that I'm going to be doing, I'll be putting out more async videos. So anyone who's just waiting also can ask a question. I'll be doing more scripting. Does that answer your question? Sorry.
It does. It does. And it was part question, part venting, because I've tried so many courses, you know.
Yeah, and I agree. The learning curve goes steep, and it's also like it's very basic. I get very bored with a lot of beginner tutorials. There have been many people who have suggested that I create beginner courses for Google Sheets, and I don't know how to make them interesting. I get bored with every beginner tutorial I ever watch. I don't know how to make them interesting myself. But I have made a few videos.
Yeah.
And then you had a
one,
third question.
Yeah, just about how to combine if statements and array functions. Like it's basically a bunch of cells. If any of these do not fit this criteria, then make it a boring old if statement. But I just haven't been able to combine that.
Combining if and an array.
Do you want me to show you?
Yeah.
Share my screen. I can show you real quick.
It's going to be much easier to show. Again, while we wait for John to show, if anyone has a question, you can either put it in the chat like Charles did, or there's a reaction to raise hand, and we'll get to you. And I don't know the order of who raises their hands. I'm sure there's a way to find out the order. If anyone knows how to find out the order of raised hands, put in the chat.
It's the order is, if I raise my hand, I'm just going to show you really quick. If I raise my hand, can you see that I'm under John? How do you see us, or to the side of John?
How do I see you? I see you as people.
As humans.
Wait, there's different ways to see the gallery. Yeah, if it's on the right side, because I'm sharing. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing. John is sharing his screen. So it is just.
I would be right next to John, and then if somebody else raises it, they would be right next to me. And so that's what tells you the order of who raised their hand.
It's literally, okay. They literally put your videos in that order. Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. That makes so much sense. Cool, John. Sorry for the distraction. I think you're muted, John. Still, I think you're muted. Am I muted?
There we go. That was my mistake. Yeah, so basically looking at this column, if any of these are not the green check mark, then it's incomplete. So I was trying to think of a way, and it just seemed array function plus an if statement.
Yeah. So if any are not the check mark.
Yeah, or it could be like if any of this column is below 5, for example, then it's incomplete, or whatever the condition is. If any of them don't meet the condition, then the usual if statement.
Well, one way you could do that is count the number of checkboxes.
Oh, okay.
And say if the count of these checkboxes is not equal to, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10? No, yeah 10. So if the checkboxes don't count all checkboxes, sorry, count if, count if checkboxes it's not 10.
Okay, that's an even easier way of doing it. That's great.
But then the other one was, you said under 5?
Whatever the condition was. Yeah, that's like, I was picking checkboxes here, but say the condition is if any of these are below 5, for example.
Yeah, then same thing, count if below 5. If over 0, then that one would be if over 0. So if you're saying I need all 10 of these to be checkboxes, you say, count all, and then is it equal to 10? If not, but then if it's under a number, you would want to say, is this counting all of these numbers that are under 5? Count if these numbers are under 5, and then is it above 0? If it's above 0, then it's wrong, right?
Simple, but great.
So it's going to be different based on what your condition is, though.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, question answered. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thanks for your questions. I need to go back to the chat now. We had a question from Charles. He says, when possible, I'd like to submit 2 topics. Wait, okay, those are,
Yes.
you wanna,
Yeah, I don't know how to raise hand with Zoom, so that's why I send you
Ah.
I send
it's
you
in the
a
reactions button on
question.
the-
But do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Charles.
Okay, very perfect. Yeah, I'll give you the context because it's that straightforward question. But before that, we are a small team and I'm working a lot on email automation. The quality of the email is representing us. So we work hard to limit the risk of with template, with everything. And Google Sheet is perfect for this kind of approach. And then and it's also a way for me to develop my proof of concept and then have another team that is making the strong development and stuff. But I'm really using on a day-to-day basis Google Sheet.
Mhm.
And I'm asking you this because then my daughter she has music lessons and I receive and then when I talked to the teacher, she said last time 6 months ago, she told me, hey, have you received my email? Because you have to pay the fees. And I go, oh, I forgot. And I checked the email. And it was so, the email is so important in terms of to represent you. So I was like, okay, if everything I developed so far for a team, I can push it to this kind of people. So I'm not asking them to understand Google script, but I have to show them a nice sheet with a sidebar or buttons where they can easily use this sheet to automate their own email processing. So I'm working on that. No worry for that. I think I've been on Google Sheet for 4 years now, so I have some knowledge. But then I saw you're also I'm an AppSumo fan. I'm buying a lot on AppSumo. I started 20 years ago. And then I saw you offer on a sheet, and I was like, it's a good way to share the sheet we've been working on. And that's the first question. And then I was like, it would be cool to relate to AppSumo to show them that we are learning from them, so we can push some our own product. So I was like, this is where my questions are from. So the first question is that I'm not using Gumroad a lot. I'm more Stripe or PayPal user, and I don't know if you have a script for that. I saw you could do that in the AppSumo commands, but I've not checked deeply how it could be done. And so it's just a matter of, do you have a tutorial or a video that says how we can move from Gumroad to Stripe or PayPal? And the next question is, what's your experience about AppSumo in terms of visibility, in terms of financial, if you can share, if you want to share something about that?
Yeah, let me get to the AppSumo question in a second, but the only sheets can be a really quick answer. I do have a version for Stripe, but I never made the tutorial videos. Now, it sort of has bitten me in the butt a little bit, but it actually ended up being good because Stripe, it's a little more complicated on the Stripe side, not the only sheet side. The only sheet side is pretty simple. It's just taking a webhook and getting the email of the customer and then adding them as a viewer of the sheet. On the Stripe side, though, they just changed, not just, but within the past year, they changed their GUI, like their interface for creating webhooks. So I literally haven't gone back in and checked what to do on the Stripe side, but I do have the only sheets Stripe version. So if anyone else, yourself, Charles included, but anyone else listening to this and is a Better Sheets member and wants to use only sheets with Stripe, I can send you the sheet that is set up for Stripe. But here's the caveat is there's no videos for it. You'll have to set up a webhook yourself, which I don't know. Literally, I know how to do it. I just don't know the new step-by-step exact steps to do it. So I will.
Don't worry, I'll find my way out with Stripe. Don't worry. But
so
yes,
I will.
If you can, yeah, it would be really nice.
Yeah. So just email me, say I want the
Yeah.
Stripe version of Only Sheets, and I can send that to you. But it feels like you're not the first person to ask about other options. So like PayPal, this one I just don't know. I know there is an answer, I just don't know the answer. But as long as PayPal can send a webhook, you're fine. You can use Only Sheets.
Okay.
The issue will be the structure of that webhook. Gumroad was actually pretty hard, pretty difficult to deal with. Their JSON or something is inconsistent. Stripe was not hard. PayPal, I cannot imagine if it's easy or hard on their webhook side.
Right.
But if you know that PayPal can send a webhook and you know where PayPal sends webhooks, then we can create an Only Sheets version for that.
Yeah, we can manage that.
I have
No
done
worries.
custom Only Sheets, by the way, for people, like someone was on Shopify and was using Zapier, or Etsy and Zapier, but I have done custom Only Sheets versions for people.
Okay. Okay. No, it's good news. Good news.
Yeah. And then the second question, tell me, what's your question about AppSumo?
Yeah, well, it's the Only Sheet experience, because the Better Sheets, like your Better Sheet website is a program that you're. I mean, it's a full long-term approach with when you sell it. It's like for teaching for us. But if you sell one single standalone sheet, like Only Sheet, how did they appreciate your work? How did they and how did they do the analysis and validate your? I mean, because I suppose that many people would have a lot of sheets to sell. So how did they handle your topic? They knew you from Better Sheet already, or and the Only Sheet was an extension of your Better Sheet offer, or was it something different?
Yeah, so I had started on AppSumo with Better Sheets, and then actually October 2021, a year ago, they had like a promo for, a year and a half ago, I created Better Letters, which is a Google Sheet that helps you create a newsletter. And I put that on AppSumo separately. Then after that, I had already created these extra things, right? As a Better Sheets member, lifetime members, you get access to these products that I made. And those I had already created on a Gumroad. So just before Black Friday last year, I added those products as separate products. And they didn't necessarily treat me any differently, nor did they treat me they didn't treat me differently, good or bad, with those products. Those products live on their own and you can buy them separately. And in fact, it's a little difficult to understand that those products are specifically included in the Better Sheets lifetime, which is probably 50% on me, but also 50% on the platform, in which individual products are sold separately normally. There is a way, if you're selling on AppSumo, you can do tiers. I haven't done that yet, but there are plans, at least literally just talking about these plans, no execution yet, to create tiers for Better Sheets. But I haven't done that myself yet. But other apps do that all the time. So depending on your specific
No,
needs,
it's my question that I like to. I think that what I'm doing is useful, and so it's a sheet, like it's an only sheet style, with my email automation tool. So I'd like to push it to AppSumo. Would they say no? We can't onboard you because you don't match with, or it's a standalone product, or I mean, what's your experience on that? Would they consider your work because it's I mean, you already explained that they treat you on a standalone basis, and so I have to test. I have to try, I suppose. But I
yeah,
also like in terms of experience. What in terms of did you get good feedbacks, or did it push your interest to go, or it was like okay, it's not in terms of selling point is not enough. I don't know. What's your experience?
Yeah. Before I go on, I just want to mention everyone who's watching, participating, you can hit there's a reaction button on the bottom. You can raise your hand if you want to ask a question or drop it in the chat in Zoom and we'll get to it. So Charles, back to this. So, okay, here's a couple of probably information you might want to know is that when you sell a product in AppSumo, there's at least the last time I added a product, this might change it within the next year. You can do two things. You can either give them coupon codes to your product or you can give them a PDF. Now, the poorest way and the easiest way is to give them a PDF with a link. In that PDF is a link to your Google Sheet. I think that's the easiest way, but it's also the poorest way because now that PDF can be given to anyone.
Yeah.
Why I did Gumroad as well. Well, two reasons I did Gumroad. One, I was already had other products on Gumroad, so it's very, very simple and easy for me to create a new product. But two, Gumroad itself has email posts. You can email your customers. So AppSumo, you can't. Okay, so here's a crazy thing that I'm sure they're going to change, but I don't know the timeline. Obviously, I don't work for AppSumo. I don't have any extra information. But if you sell a PDF on AppSumo, you do not get any of the emails of your customers. So that's also why I did Gumroad, is because give them a coupon code, and then that unique coupon code, go get on Gumroad, then get your email address. So now I can send updates. I can send information about the product. I can send an email series, instead of just hey, here's the product and we're done. Here's, 5 emails in 5 weeks that walk you through the product and give you more ideas. That AppSumo doesn't do. Again, maybe they're going to change, but not at this moment.
Okay, it's interesting.
And
No,
it's been fantastic, actually. By the way, before I say anything else, I do have to say my experience with AppSumo has been fantastic. I think it's a large part luck, but also the ability to do more things as you progress in AppSumo, I think is fantastic. Gumroad is impossible. Gumroad, you just put up a product and that is the only function you can do. But with AppSumo, I've been able to write a blog. I've been able to do webinars. I've been able to do I've created free templates. So they have a freebie on AppSumo that's branded AppSumo, but I made it and like 37,000 people have downloaded it. So like, that's cool. Like AppSumo has been very good with leveling up.
Okay, so they are appreciating the intelligence, the market intelligence you can provide. It's nice. It's nice. You feel valued. Yeah.
And it's a market. It's truly a marketplace and a market like that I can access. And if I give value, then I get value back. So Gumroad has been I don't think of it as a marketplace, but it has some features that I think are very important to keep up with, like being able to email your customers is very important. Even though you have the cash in hand, being able to update and give more information and base it on time across time, I think is important.
Yeah, no, it's very important, but Gumroad is not very well known in Western Europe.
Exactly.
That's why I'm asking for Stripe or because I think Stripe, they have an emailing functionality. You can send emails as well.
Well, beyond, I mean, Stripe is such a great little part of your tool. Like if you want to create your brand, right, you can create a Stripe account, get people to pay, and then email through any number of email services, which I also have an email service, by the way. Gumroad changed their design and they changed the design of their emails within the past year, and it's been terrible. I really don't like it. So I'm not emailing as much via Gumroad. I'm using ConvertKit now. So that is something to consider, that like if you actually want real control and real availability to email properly, then yeah, you're going to want to email service provider, not
There is SendFox for the
there
AppSumo.
is, but the send, okay, this is a crazy, I don't know if you can do this, but if you get a payment through Stripe, can you add that person to your SendFox? And I think SendFox is only one list. You can segment it, can you?
I think you can. It's not straightforward, but you can. And I think with Stripe you have Zapier or Pably with SendFox you can link.
Yeah, I think you can. I will say that I think so this is a crazy thing that I just found out recently, because I just got ConvertKit like 2 months ago. When I set up my ConvertKit, I can integrate like in a couple clicks with Gumroad. So then every single customer is segmented by what they bought. So that was like amazing. And I'm so happy for that. Instead of going from now forward, I have all of this like data and it automatically happens. So if somebody buys on Gumroad, automatically in ConvertKit. I don't have to use Zapier. That's the point.
That's great. Now, if you can limit the number of Pably and Zapier, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Anyway, if you see my sheet on the market, I'll tell you, and you'll be part of the solution with only sheet.
Yeah, let me know how it goes. Two things also, ConvertKit has ConvertKit Commerce, and I don't mean to say this like use ConvertKit Commerce, not Gumroad. I'm actually going to be testing having a product on AppSumo and Gumroad and ConvertKit Commerce. I think being available, having a one digital product, being available to many people who, however they choose to buy it, is important. Not just making it easy on myself, but making it easy on the customer to buy, I think is important. So having it on multiple platforms probably is going to have some issues, but probably is going to be better long term.
But, maybe I'll touch base with you once I'm ready to launch the product.
Yeah, and even as you launch it, there is sellers.bettersheets.co. If anyone else, again, if anyone else here is trying to sell or selling a product and they want to do more, there's a support group that is on Telegram. We chat, we share information. I shared some like specific information there. Sellers.bettersheets.co. I put it in the chat here in Zoom. I did share some videos there that I've never shared with Better Sheets members about buying domains with the word sheet in it. And then I actually gave the list of potential sheet name domains to that group. I've done that twice and I accidentally bought a domain too in doing that. So I have like I have a domain called subsheets.com. So that's like a weird.
That's nice.
I haven't done anything with it.
Yeah, but it's I had to buy some domain for one of my clients, and it's a very good business for people who own the domains.
Yeah. Basically, I found like basically it's like a service that tells you when domains are going to expire. So you can find out 2, 3, or 7 days ahead of time that a domain is going to drop and be available to buy. So you can put a back order on it before it's available. And I was like, is this true? Like, can I actually buy this domain that's literally like, you cannot buy it right now, but like, and I tested it out and I bought the domain. I was, oh, it worked. It was.
I'll check the domain. Sellers.bettersheet.co. Okay.
Yeah, but in that group, I dropped the video on how to do it. I had a sheet. I searched through, I think it was something like 600,000 domains, and it's like hundreds of thousands of domains every single week or every single month that are available. And I was like, oh my God, there must be some with the name sheets in it. And I found like 30 or so. So again, that's just telling you there's a group that we are sheet sellers. We support each other.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. How's everyone doing? Is everyone enjoying this? I'm not sure how this is going. I got one thumbs up from John. And Chris. We have no more questions, so we're done here now. I'm sure someone's sitting here wondering what's going on. All right, we got 2 hands raised. Namon, you want to go first, and then Lauren second?
Okay, so I have a weird question. All right.
We're all weird questions.
So this one is, this is a membership group, a fairly large one. And so you have members, and then you have membership. And then those members might, at one point in time, because there's things that happen throughout the year, they might submit some papers. All right. But we don't know if one member is truly a member or not, but they submit papers anyway. So I don't know if Google Sheets could do this or not, but actually take all the members that are in the database, dump them somehow into Google Sheets, take all the people who submitted papers, and then quickly press a button, and magically it tells you who the active members are and who the non-members are. And then a bonus would be to send out an email saying, you're not a member, you need to, you know, become a member before your paper can be accepted for judging.
Okay, so you have members that you, how do you capture them? Sorry, you have members that you capture throughout a year, they are members or they become members. And then there's certain events that occur in which members or non-members submit papers, but when they submit that paper, there's a chance that they're not a member. And you want to know which of the people who submit a paper are not a member, and you want to send them an email.
Correct. And let them know that they're not a member. They need to, you know, become a member before their paper can be accepted and judged. And this happens repeatedly throughout the year because you have events that take place where it's members only. And the person who's actually submitting to this event, either be a paper or whatever else it might be, they think they're a member. Maybe they think they're a member, or maybe their membership lapsed or something like that.
So it's not just literally non-members have submitting and you say, hey, become a member. There's other cases where they were a member or they think they're a member through something else.
Right. Is it possible? That's the first question.
Yes.
Well, that's good news.
Everything is possible. So sorry, let's go through a few specifics here. How many events do you have per year?
Okay, so we would have probably, let's say 6.
Okay, so is it literally like every 2 months, or is it like some seasons you have 4 and then you go for 6 months without any? It's
within a school year. So let's say a university school year, right? They're all May to like August, September, let's say September, you know, they're.
Okay, so you have 6 events. So it sounds like is you don't necessarily need to have this running like all the time, checking each one. You need to, you have a day basically where you have a list of all your members, you have a list of all the submissions, and you need to process that on the day.
Right. Currently what's happening is that I have the list of people who have submitted, and I manually go in and I check each one.
And you're saying, and you're basically figuring this out by their email address, is that correct?
Yeah, but that's sometimes their email address don't match. So I have to check by name, or I have to check by school that it came from.
Okay.
Right. That type of stuff.
Okay. So you have multiple things you have to check. Here's some simple steps to start off with is if you have 2 lists, and we're gonna bypass the extra other stuff right now. We're not gonna talk about the other names. But if you just have like 2 email lists, one email list that's members and one email list that you want to check, use the match formula. So it's equal match. And you're gonna just say, take this name that we don't know if it's on this list, match it to this list. And if you get an error, that's not on the list. So that's the simplest way to do it. So you can just check the emails first and say, who amongst this email list is not a member? And you'll find that out. Do you understand that first part?
That I understand, yes. Yes.
So that will get you away from having to manually check the emails against these emails. I don't know. I can't really explain it right at the moment without like seeing exactly the, but it's like name. There's other pieces of data. You can then check, after you check those emails, you then have a subset of, hey, these emails we don't know. So then I would say, check the name. How you do that is you may have to do something like index match or VLOOKUP to, you have an email that you don't know is a member. So check what is their other data. So you have their name, their school, get that, and then check that against the list. So I would separate those steps, perhaps.
Okay. So email first, and then, so if we check their name could match another name from a different school, right? So I guess I would have to check school. And then if they were under a school, check the school and the name matched under that school, then that would be a match too, possibly. Right?
Yeah, and you can, this gets a little complicated to explain, but very easy to show, is like if you have 2 columns of data, like name and school. Okay, sorry, is it full name?
Yeah, we have the full name, yes.
Okay, so if you have full name and that matches, most of the time you're good.
When you say full name, you mean full name in one field? So usually it comes first name, last name.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't. As long as you have,
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
you can always manipulate this. If you have 2 first and last name, you can combine those into full name. Which actually, okay, this is actually the again, this is so easy to do manually, but hard to explain. You would probably want to take the name and the school and combine them into a column that's like that's unique. And then match the information. But people are inconsistent with their names, right? Like
No, for the most part,
Oh,
they're
no?
pretty consistent.
I mean, some
I've
people
been
have
doing-
like middle names, some people have like different capitalization, or they'll like go by John or Jonathan or Chris and Christopher.
That they could do, right? But if they did that, maybe we could just do first letter of the first name. The last name would never change.
Yeah, so what you could do is say, you could turn, if you have the information of first name, last name, and school, and even if it's in 3 different columns, you can turn that into a unique identifier in one column. And then do the match. So you don't have to match multiple columns, you just have to match this one unique ID column, which is, you know, NK Stanford, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So basically you're taking those 3 columns, merging them into one, and then comparing across that.
Yeah, and you might not ever be able to get the complete human out of the loop here, depending on if it's thousands versus hundreds. If you do the first check of email and you now have a list, if you go from thousands down to hundreds, then you do the name and you go from hundreds down to a dozen. Okay, maybe that's much easier than having to check thousands manually.
Okay.
But then you might have some other issues like emailing. So so then you have a list, you end up with a list of people who you don't know if they are a member or not. You might have to run them through past members. If it's really like, hey, if you have a list of all the past members, you might want to do the exact same thing, and run these now fewer names and emails through a list of all past members and say, okay, do we know if they're a past member or not? Because you want to treat them differently than, hey, you've never been a member, right?
Correct. Right. Exactly.
But it's going to be pretty much the same concept using match. And if you get an error, they don't exist on that. If you get a number, the match is going to say, find this text on another list and give me the row that it's on. If you get a row back, great, you're done. If you don't get a row back, you get an error and you say, okay, this person doesn't exist on the list. But then you want to treat them differently. And then you can email from Google Sheets. Let me find.
Can you connect Google Sheets to Outlook, or is that possible?
No, I mean, it literally sends it from Google Sheets. Like whatever email you have as your user on your Google Sheet, it'll send from that user.
Okay, I got you. And we do have a Google account. That's, but it's a Google account though. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna drop this link in the chat. It's just literally typing email in Better Sheets and finding videos. The first two are the videos you want to watch. Well, you don't necessarily have to watch the entire video, because the first one, send a daily email with inspiring quote, that one is like a very long video. Unless you want to watch the whole video, you can. But it'll show you, and the second video there will show you how to do the code in Google Apps Script. It's like mail app and then dot something. It's very simple. It's one line of code, and you just need to have the message that you're sending and who you're sending to. And it sounds like you already have their email addresses.
Yes.
So that part's done. And you can loop through. Okay. I don't think it loops through. But it might. No, it sends it to yourself. So these are all for. I don't have a video going over the for loop yet. But if you email me and you're like, I got to this point where I have the email message, I have the list of people I want to send the email to, and you get to that point, email me and I'm happy to get you the next step of the way, which is a for loop.
Okay. Is it possible we can email out through Google Sheets? Is it possible to send out a post notification out of Google Sheets?
What's a pulse notification?
So a post, so like Zapier, it posts to like a CRM or a webhook or something like that. So it activates a webhook, and then that webhook would do a post notification to whatever app is out there on the web. Is it possible to?
Yeah, I think that's
do that?
I think that's the same way that you do.
Like with Stripe,
Authenticator.
you had that webhook in Stripe, and you were pushing information out to Stripe through that spreadsheet.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm wrong about this, but I think it's called URL fetch app. And this is a function in Google Apps Script. I put it in the chat here, URL fetch app. I think it's a function in Apps Script, and I use it to access APIs.
Okay.
How you access APIs, but that sounds like the same thing. Like you're just accessing you're sending data, either post or get data to a URL.
Right.
I think that's going to be the same thing. People who are better at programming, probably there might be some little difference, but I would start there.
Okay. Thank you. That was helpful. Appreciate it.
What are you sending? Where, like you mentioned Stripe and Zapier, where are you sending that data?
So there was an application on AppSumo called VBot. And so VBot, so like VBOUT. They're not there anymore, but they were. And so I got that off of AppSumo, and they have the ability to create. They have an API call where you can create basically a webhook. You put that webhook wherever you want it to go, and then you can post into that application.
I think
So,
this is it. Yeah.
okay.
I think that'll do it for you.
So I'm interested in that group that you talked about as far as how do you monetize like Google Sheets.
Mhm.
So I think I
Yeah.
might join, but I'm kind of confused when I looked at the URL and let's see, what does it say? Oh, that's the Academy one. The Academy one looks, is that open yet? The spreadsheet Alchemy, is that open?
Yeah, Spreadsheet Alchemy, it is a wait list right now. There are dates. It's actually only like 2 or 3 weeks away. I think November. Oh my God. The first Friday of November is when it sort of starts. What is that date? Sorry, I just did the calendar and I can't remember. Yeah, so 2 weeks away, actually 2 weeks from today, will be the first group.
So that one's closed, right? For now, that's on a wait
It's a
list.
wait list, so it's not yet open.
Oh, it's not open yet. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
And I'm
then the
doing
other
it
one-
through the Maven platform, so it's gonna be a little different than Better Sheet stuff has been before. I don't know if you know what Maven is.
No, that's the first time I've heard of it.
They do cohort-based courses, so there'll be videos that you watch beforehand, and then we'll have live sessions, and there will also be like it's a group setting, so it's more about finding it. Not more about. You'll also find out what other people are working on. It won't just be to get information.
Okay, I got you. So it's not, it's like a classroom type scenario setup, yeah.
And it'll be 1 week. It'll actually feel like more than 1 week, but because we'll meet the first time on a Friday, then the next week we'll meet every day. So it'll feel more like 2 weeks.
And all the classes are in the evening then?
Yes, Eastern time and afternoon and Pacific time.
Okay, got it.
Actually the same time as this call.
And then for sheet sellers, I'm looking at it here and there's like a $50 per work group and then there's a $15 per month. Which one just kind of gets you into the group to have the discussion? Is it the $15 one or the $50? I'm kind of confused.
If you just want to chat, it's $15 a month. I just did a workshop last month, and probably won't do another workshop. Well, I'm going to try to do a workshop around Black Friday before Black Friday. 50-50 chance that happens. But if you just want to join the chat, yeah, exactly $15.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Let someone else ask questions.
Thanks so much. Lauren's next. Lauren has your hand raised. You've been waiting patiently.
Oh yeah, great information. I have a few questions. Some simple, some about how do I do some calculations in Google Sheets. So first, a disclaimer, I've had too many courses on AppSumo. I haven't watched your videos yet, but I plan to. Also, I'm math impaired. My first question is, do you do Google Sheets consulting outside of group Zoom calls?
Yeah, I do one-on-ones. It's $99 an hour. You can email me and we can schedule. And that we can work through a problem. We can chat about a problem. Either way, we can work on a sheet together. Up to you, whatever you want.
Okay, great. That is cool. And I was going to follow up with, what's your opinion of hiring Google Sheets experts on Upwork if I can't afford you? I'm checking out Upwork too. So, you ever done that, or would you recommend people do that?
Yeah, actually, funny enough, I have hired not a Google Sheet expert, but I did hire. Oh my God. Was it last year? A year ago, I hired someone to help me with Google Apps Script. I just could not figure out how to do something essentially in JavaScript. And I hired someone. God, it was not expensive at all, but I was very clear on what I had and what I needed to do. And I had already written a lot of code that I was like, here's all the code that I wrote, but like, I really need it to do from this to this. and they did. So I was very clear about what I needed to do and very clear what I didn't know. And I was like, I just needed to do this one thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, your price is going to go way, way, way higher based on like time. If you have to like explain something somewhat, then they do something, then you are like, oh, wait, no, that's not what I wanted. Like, even though it's going to be cheap initially, you're going to end up with more charges. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll look into that. Can I ask you a more technical question?
Sure.
Okay, I'm having trouble with time and date stamps.
Mhm.
I'm using a simple Google Forms and Sheet solution to keep track of tasks in a project that I'm working on. So on the form, I've got a question for how many minutes did this take? And of course, that shows up on the Google Sheet in its own column, along with the time and date stamp. And I can calculate total hours work, no problem. What I can't figure out is how to see how many hours I've worked today, this week, this month, or between a range of dates. And I've tried Googling for solutions. It looks like it's really monstrously hard to work with time and date stamps. So is that something you've tackled?
Yeah, this is. Timestamps can be difficult. There's a couple of ways to do this, and unfortunately it becomes a little complicated because of because there's so many different ways to work with this.
Yeah.
So neither of them are necessarily simple. So one quick way is instead of working with the timestamp as time, like knowing that it's time and it like has these date, hour, minute, milliseconds, you can, what's good about a timestamp is that it's formatted the same way all the time. So you can actually access it like text. And so you can slice it up and say, okay, if I only want the minute marker, I know this isn't going to answer your question, sorry, initially, but you can separate the timestamp as text. So you don't necessarily have to access it as time. You can say, hey, I just want the 13th character of this timestamp, and I want the 13th character every single time. That allows you then to pretty much just access it like text and then change that text into time later, if that makes sense.
Kind of, again, math impaired here. So programming impaired also. So that was one of the things I was looking to maybe consult with you about, or someone on Upwork, because I really like my sheet in my form, but I can't get the data I want out of it.
So that's one way to work with a timestamp, is that you just treat it as text. So you don't need to hit the hour marker as an hour marker. Literally, you just count the number of characters, and you use something, either I'll put it in the there's three formulas in Google Sheets. You don't have to do anything with AppScript. It's called left, mid, or right. Mid is probably the one you're gonna want to use. Do you know this formula, mid?
I've read about it. I haven't used it. I haven't really need to pull stuff out like that yet, but I will read up on that. Okay.
So literally all it is you're gonna figure out how many characters into it how many characters in do you need, and then how many characters do you need to pull out. So if it starts at the 5th character, 5. If you need the hour, like maybe it's hours, you do 2. So you need 2 characters starting from the 5th one, is how you do it. So it's just counting, not math.
Okay. Well,
and then what happens is that now you have that as you can determine what that means, what that hour marker means, what that minute marker means. And you can use that in any way, shape, or form inside of Google Sheets, not with Google AppScript. So you can visually say, okay, this is hour 13, this is hour 15, this is hour 16. And then in the next column, you say, this is the next hour over. You can add to it, you can minus it, you can say, what I have a timestamp and I want to know what's 1 hour from that. You can just take that hour, add 1. Makes it very simple to do in Sheets.
Okay. Can I ask you another sort of technical question, more theoretical?
Sure, but there is there's a second way to access timestamps.
Okay. Okay.
And that is, there is a number of formulas. Sorry, I'm gonna formula. One second, I want to grab it from Google Help Docs. So here it is. I put a link to Google Help, but there are formulas that are called like hour, or hour's the one that I was looking for here, or minute. Sorry, there is minute as well.
Mhm.
And this might be able to get you literally the exact information you need without
Okay.
having to count might. This doesn't work all the time because of how both Excel and Google Sheets works with dates, or what they consider dates. Sometimes it's not formatted as we imagine it should be.
Okay, I will check out those links.
Cool.
Can I ask? Okay, I got a
Keep going.
question. Is there a way to break out a row, like a row of Google Sheet data generated from a form, into another sheet tab where you built formulas, and the goal is to create like this dashboard template that you can just take one row of information, just plug it in, boom, look at it, and then go to the next, go to the next, go to the next. Is that possible?
So you have a Google form and you want to basically iterate through each of those rows, and you want to see all
Yeah.
of the data, but you might want to
I
move
want a
that data
bigger,
around.
yeah, like a dashboard. Like,
Yeah.
well, I'll tell you what, I work for some real estate people, and they go through, they find prospects, and the name and the address and all this stuff. But wouldn't it be kind of cool if you could take the address, and then when you copy this row over into this theoretical template dashboard I built, and just see the Google map of where it is, and you could look and see if there's like a railroad track nearby, or
That'd be
like if
amazing.
you had, like if it had like a comp that was really high or low for the area that you could look up against something else on to see, oh, that's ridiculously high for that area. Just something you could do, to get
Absolutely.
a dashboard view of each row. So,
Yeah, absolutely. That would be incredible.
okay. Just
So
curious.
how I would do that, I don't think this is the only way. It's probably easier for me to show you, but I will try to explain it. You set up a dashboard and you okay, so you have one tab that is all of your Google responses. Create another tab in which in the A1 cell, you just have a number. Let's start with 2 or 3. And what that means is it's the row on the Google responses. So now everything in that sheet, in the second sheet, that you're grabbing, the third column or the fifth column, we know what sheet and we know what row because it's going to be that A1. Then every time you change that number, it will change all of the data because it's referencing the row number, the index. You can use
Oh, okay. Okay. I think I've done something very simple, similar to that, but this would be a lot more complex. Okay.
Now, the second part of this, which I think brings a little bit of magic to this and might wow some people, is once you have that data there, it sounds like you want to be able to do one click, next row, next row, next row.
Yeah.
So what you could do is, this is probably one of the most second level, like first or second level Google app scripts you can do. Create an app script, which it takes the number that's in A1 on that sheet and just adds 1 to it. And create an image, and literally just insert an image over the cells, and you can assign a script to that button. So you can have a button that is a plus sign, and you click that plus sign and it takes this and it runs the script, which literally just takes A1 plus 1 and then puts it back into A1, which is like a very, very simple script. I mean, it's so simple to write. It's literally like take A1 plus 1, return that.
Okay. Okay.
And that button, assign a script to the button. It'll be like 3 dots in the upper right corner, assign that +1 script to it, and you have a magical sheet that will flip through all of those rows.
That's awesome. I think that's all my questions. Thank you so much, Andrew. This has been very helpful. And appreciate your
You're
time.
welcome.
Okay.
So if anyone else wants to raise their hand, you have reactions, literally raise hand is a button, but it's in the reactions on Zoom, or you can drop in the chat. We got a few minutes left here. I've heard from almost everyone here. I haven't heard from Bruce. We got John, got Charles, Lauren, Namon, Manpreet. Michael, we haven't heard from. You're just here as a voyeur. Nakathula, Bruce, Michael, if you want to raise your hand, you're more than welcome. If anyone else who already raised their hand, if you have another question now, and you want to go deeper, feel free to jump in. Bruce is enjoying the information. Thanks. But we only got like 9 minutes left if anyone wants to chat about anything. Has anyone actually watched any videos? Everyone starts with, I haven't watched videos yet. Has anyone actually watched Better-Sheet videos yet? Or if you haven't watched a video, let me try to recommend you a video to watch. I think Lauren said you haven't watched any videos. I can recommend. Where is it? Nope, that's not it. Get More Sheets help. This is probably the most helpful video. If you haven't watched any videos or you want more help, there's a video about asking for help. I just put in the chat. It's literally called Get More Sheets Help. It suggests how to send me an email or what to do, which is usually a Loom video if you want to send me a question. Sharing a sheet and a Loom video, around a 1 minute Loom video, is usually perfect, and I can respond to you by email very, very quickly. I have to just caveat that if you ask too short of a question and you ask too long of a question, it can get very, very complicated very fast. Usually if I have to read a lot or it's a very long Loom video, it means you're asking a lot of different questions, but a 1 minute Loom video means probably showing me the issue, showing me the roadblock, showing me the challenge you have, and then saying, what can I do? And this is going to sound really weird, but I usually ask questions in return. So be prepared that I might not email back just the answer. There might be some issues that we have to cover or specifics, because my God, if you ask too short of a question, there are so many more questions to come out of it. That's a good question. So Bruce is asking, are you going to add videos to the courses? The answer is absolutely yes. When is another, the timing on that is a different answer, is not so easy to answer. The courses as they are now were, it's hard to explain. There are 3 courses now that have 4 videos. That's dashboards, the progress bar, and there's a learn to code. Actually, the most helpful video, if you have never watched a video and you want to get something really quick, go do the course of Learn to Code. It's 4 videos, less than 30 minutes total, but I will be updating that soon. So that's sort of the longer answer, is that course is now 4 videos, less than 30 minutes. It's gonna end up being 6 videos, but brand new, probably less than 30 minutes, and the new ID and how you code now. And it'll get a little more in-depth quicker. But there are 5 other videos that, 5 other courses that actually you can't enroll in, I think. Or as Bruce said, they only have 1 video or a few videos. those are courses that I have the topic of, and I just have to go find the videos and move. They exist in the catalog of videos. It's just a matter of selecting them. So that's sort of what's going on there. And I don't have an order in particular for them. So I have them in topics. Most of the courses that don't have many videos, like fab sheets, and I can go into more detail here. The videos exist in the topics, like sheet code, beyond sheets, profitable sheets. Yeah, one video each. You can enroll in them, but they only have one video each. Those videos do exist, but they're more in the topics. Yes. It is a matter of just going in. Yeah, Sheet Games has, wait, what? 4 videos. Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, look in topics, not courses. I think this is the one you're talking about, Bruce. Sheet Games. Probably I don't have many other games for that. That's probably the reason. I haven't made any more videos. Yeah, so if anyone wants to know what the difference between topics and courses is, this is probably a good time to mention this, is that topics are concepts in which the videos you don't have to watch in any particular order. Courses are groups of videos that you should watch in a particular order. So I personally don't want to actually make many courses that you have to watch in a particular order. I'd rather do topics, and those have more videos. Yeah, what course is it? That is escape. Yes, faster sheets. So the that's why I don't do the courses. That's why there's only one video in that faster sheet. Should probably take that out, or I need to add more videos to it. It's just a matter of me going in the back end and selecting the videos and putting them in a particular order. But that is a psychological and emotional step I haven't been able to take, is picking which order they should go in. That's the worry I have. That's on me, but also probably on the technology that I have. But I'll blame myself for that. I haven't put the videos and I haven't put them in any particular order. But if you want more games, let me know what games you might want to have. Oh, if actually not from me, from someone else. If you want to see more games, go check out Tyler Robertson. This guy, where? Sorry, I'm gonna find this name. Hey. Yeah, so go check out this. If you want to see more games, this guy, I have a video on YouTube, and you can go find Tyler on Twitter. He has a bunch of games. Oh, okay. You're just but that's good that was enticing to you. I should add more to that. Thanks for bringing that up, Bruce. Write that down. Cool. Oh yeah, that was not faster sheets. Thanks, Manpreet. Have a good one. So yeah, Bruce. Exactly. So they do exist. Let's go find some. Just haven't put them in order. Here's 2 more I'll add Actually, I can add them now. There, I just added another one for you. I think this is the same one. There you go, Bruce. I just added 2 more videos for you in that faster sheets. One a script that moves stuff, and then basic what is it? I just added. Can I not remember this? Yeah, it's basic keyboard shortcuts to speed up your productivity, paste values, select till end, clear formatting, some simple ones that make you move within sheets faster. Just added that video for you. Thanks for bringing it up. Woo. It's been 2 hours. Thank you all for joining. Hope to see you soon. You're more than welcome to email me. I dropped the video on how to ask a question. If you have any more questions, have it in the chat. Get it before the session ends. And this is a recording. I'm not sure how this recording will get out. But I hope you all watch some more videos on Better Sheets, ask me more questions. Every single question you ask it's possible that it helps every other member as well. I'm sure you all have enjoyed hearing other people's questions, seeing other people's issues and the solution around that. And cool, Charles liked the session. I'll consider doing more. Got to get a setup proper here. Probably do more consistent stuff. So I'm really excited. Thanks so much for coming. Have a good one. Bye.